Hello friends, today we will learn about the struggle for independence in India. After the First World War, the Indians realized that the British wanted to keep them poor and backward. This forced the Indians to unite and fight for the freedom of their country. With the establishment of the Indian National Congress, INC, the country got a strong foothold to fight in unison. The partition of Bengal in 1905, the activities of the moderates and the radicals brought about the rise of nationalism in India. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi went to South Africa in 1893 in connection with a case where he saw the plight of the Indians. He fought for their rights. He also experimented with satyagraha based on truth and non-violence and achieved great success. When he returned to India in 1915, he toured the country and was shocked to see the poverty and hunger in the country. He decided to fight against the injustice done to the Indian people and launched the fight for freedom through the policy that he used in Africa. The British government passed the Royalet Act in March 1919, which gave the government power to arrest anyone and send them to jail without trial. People protested against this act. Gandhiji decided to launch a nationwide satyagraha movement against the Royalet Act. On April 13, 1919, a peaceful meeting was being held to protest against the Royalet Act at Jallianwala Bagh, Amritsar. General Dyer ordered his troops to open fire on the people gathered there, killing hundreds of people who had collected there to protest. As the news of Jallianwala Bagh spread, crowds took to the streets in many North Indian towns. The government responded with brutal repression, seeking to humiliate and terrorize people. The satyagrahis were forced to rub their nose and crawl on the streets. Seeing the violence spread, Gandhiji called off the movement. When Turkey was defeated by the British and its allies in the First World War, the allies decided to divide it among themselves. The powers of the Caliphate of Turkey were taken back. It angered the Muslims around the world who began to form Khilafat committees to oppose the Britishers. Do you know? Caliph or Khalifa was the religious head of the Muslims. The Ali brothers, Maulana Muhammad Ali and Maulana Shaukat Ali, also started the Khilafat movement. Gandhiji supported it and found an opportunity to unite the Hindus and the Muslims. The Congress, under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, decided to start a non-cooperation movement in 1920. This was to be a non-violent movement. It was decided that no one would cooperate with the government. Students boycotted schools and colleges. Lawyers boycotted the law courts. Peasants refused to pay taxes and government servants left their jobs. The movement became violent in 1922. A police chowki was set on fire, killing 22 policemen by the satyagrahis at Chauri Chaura, Uttar Pradesh. When this news reached Gandhiji, he called off the movement. Like the revolutionaries who emerged during the Swadeshi movement, there were also some people who believed that freedom could be achieved only through violent methods. These were the revolutionaries Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, B.K. Dutt, Ashfaqullah Khan, Sukhdev, Ram Prasad Bismil and Jatin Das were among them. These revolutionaries sacrificed their lives for the motherland. We salute them. Do you know? The Banaras Hindu University and the Jamia Millia Islamia were founded at this time. The British government sent a commission to India in 1928 to study the effects of the Royalet Act. This was called the Simon Commission, which reached India in 1928. It was boycotted by the Congress as there was no Indian member in this commission, and there was also no hope from it. Sir John Simon, who was the head of the commission, was greeted with black flags and slogans, "Simon, go back." Do you know? Lala Lajpat Rai led the protest procession of Simon Commission at Lahore. He was injured in the lathi charge and later died on the injuries on November 17, 1928. The annual session of the Congress was held at Lahore in 1929. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was elected the President of the Congress and he demanded Purna Swaraj, complete independence. Two important decisions were taken at the session. 1. 26th January was to be celebrated as Independence Day every year. 2. The civil disobedience movement was to be launched in 1930. Gandhiji started the civil disobedience movement with the famous Dandi March on March 12, 1930, from his Sabarmati ashram to Dandi with 78 followers. He reached Dandi, a small village on the seashore of Gujarat, on April 6th. There, he broke the salt law by making salt from the seawater. The British government had increased tax on salt, which was consumed even by the poorest of the poor. This was the beginning of the civil disobedience movement. Thousands of people defied the law and were taken as prisoners. It was an agreement between Gandhiji and Lord Irwin signed in 1931. According to this, Gandhiji would call off the civil disobedience movement and take part in the second round table conference. The Britishers would release all political prisoners. This act permitted more participation of Indians in the administration. It was prepared by the Britishers. Because of this act, elections were held in 1937 for the state assemblies. The Congress participated in the elections and formed governments in 7 states. In 1939, the Second World War began. The British government asked the Congress to cooperate with the government. The British government sent Sir Stafford Cripps to India for this, but his mission failed and the Congress decided not to cooperate with the government. The Indian National Congress decided to start the third mass movement, that is, Quit India movement, on August 8, 1942. Gandhiji gave the slogan of Do or Die. This movement continued till India got its independence in 1947. Subhash Chandra Bose was one of the main leaders of the Indian freedom movement. He was put under house arrest by the British but escaped to Kabul, from where he reached Italy, Germany and then to Japan. He organized the Indian National Army, INA, or Azad Hind Fauj, to fight against the British. He coined 3 slogans: Dilli Chalo, Give me blood, I'll give you freedom, Jai Hind. Finally, the British government decided to free India. They had been successful in creating a rift between the Hindus and the Muslims. Therefore, under the leadership of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the Muslims demanded a separate nation. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was the founder of Pakistan. India was divided into Pakistan and India. Gandhiji was heartbroken as a number of people lost their lives and possessions. His dream of a united India could not be fulfilled. According to the Lord Mountbatten Plan, India was to be divided into India and Pakistan. Amazing fact! It is said that about 14.5 million people crossed the borders after the partition of India. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru became the first Prime Minister of India. India drafted its own constitution. It took nearly 3 years in the making of our constitution. It was implemented on 26th January 1950. Thus, India became a republic on 26th January 1950. Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the first president of Free India. Let us summarize. Gandhiji actively participated in 3 mass movements: Non-Cooperation Movement in 1920, Civil Disobedience Movement in 1930, Quit India Movement in 1942. The Simon Commission 1928 was boycotted. The Lahore session of Congress in 1929 demanded complete independence. India became a republic in 1950 with Dr. Rajendra Prasad as its first president, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as its first Prime Minister,